Truth Will Set You Free, episode 211, the abandoned edition, where everyone abandoned me. But it's okay. I have backup. Well, we're here again, guys. We are here again. An episode of Truth to Set You Free. Except this time, Casey is gone and Russo is gone. Russo just quit. He just quit. He's a quitter. Shout out to Russo. Not scared to be a quitter. What's up, y'all? As you can see, I got two guests with me. Well, one's a permanent on the show, and the other used to be a permanent on the show, and hopefully will be a permanent on the show again. I got Smoke Pole TV, aka KG, in the building, and I got Sunni Blanks, aka literally not Sunni Blanks, in the building. What's going on, y'all?
What's popping, man? What's popping?
Good.
We got a lot to talk about. You know, I mean, where to start? What do you think? Where should we start? This is a lot.
Where do you start? Everything's going crazy right now.
It is.
All at once.
What's going crazy though? You know what's really going crazy?
What?
I know we don't start the show like this normally, guys, but I got to because I mean, why not? Casey and Russo ain't here to tell me I can't, so I'm just gonna go ahead and do it. Jay-Z got allegations against him, you guys. Jay-Z has allegations against him, and he's basically Diddy on steroids, from what I'm hearing. Like, Diddy ain't got nothing on Jay-Z. The question is, did he do it? Get it? See what I did there? Did he do it?
Did he do it? Did he do it?
I think he did it.
You think he did it? I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't think it's far-fetched. We're talking about a very, like, perverted industry.
It's horrible.
At that high of a level. So if he did, it wouldn't shock me.
It's disgusting.
I think that there's a couple of things that you have to think about that kind of stick out as interesting. One is if Diddy is going down and he's still in jail and he's locked up, you know, the best thing to do to kick up some dust is probably throw one of your buddies under the ringer. So it could be, you know, an act of desperation. Or another thing I think is really an interesting thing is that Jay-Z does not have an identity. What I mean by that is if you think about all of the rappers, right? All of the rappers in the industry. Kanye, he has an identity. Tupac had an identity. You knew what they stood for. You knew who they were outside of music. Jay-Z's one of these kind of like blank canvas, weird, don't really know who or what he is. And that's one thing that kind of leads to, I think, a lot of the questions that people have out there and the uncertainty of, is this possibly true?
He's gross. Let's just call it. He's gross. He's a gross dude. He looks gross. He's been looking gross. He looks like something's wrong with him. I don't like his hair. I don't like nothing about Jay-Z. Except for some of his music. Can't lie there. He's pretty dope, you know what I'm saying, when it comes to the music. But moving forward, I just had to kick it off like that because it never would have kicked off like that. Okay, so I did that. I just did that right now. You got hip hop news on Truth to Set You Free right at the beginning of it.
Wow.
So moving forward, I want to touch on this. I've been touching on this for 2 days now. Daniel Penny got acquitted, and the black community is in an uproar. Okay, not the good black community like, you know, us. I'm talking about the lower grade ones that are paid by their masters to go out there and tell people that this was race. This had everything to do with race, which I totally disagree with. It had nothing to do with race. I want to know your guys' opinion before we really get into it. So we'll start with you, Sunni, because you're the lady on the stage. Go ahead.
This is how I looked at it. My first introduction to this happened like 2 years ago, a year and a half ago, right?
Yeah.
I was just like, yo, that's unfortunate, but you can't act crazy in public. Why would you do that? And then I kind of didn't pay attention to it anymore until Hawk Newsome. I don't know if you saw that video. Hawk Newsome outside of New York pretty much just says it's open season on white people and there's going to be black vigilantes. So, of course, I made a video and I said, I don't really spend time talking about black on black crime. It's not really my like content subject matter. I keep it political and foreign policy. But and I said this is my first time saying this. As a black woman, I am so sick and tired of black activists. You make it super unbearable to be black, bro. You really do. It's embarrassing to watch Hawk Newsome on that podium talking about open season on black people when the
On white
New
people.
York's crime rate is astronomical.
Mhm.
We represent 51% of the suspects and 61% of the victims. That's 2024 alone. Can you go play vigilante in those neighborhoods? That's
what
really
just
all I
said
got to
today.
say.
I caught all kinds of heat for that today. Saying something similar. I caught all kinds of heat. Well, not all kinds. It was just a couple brothers in the comment section that was, flapping their gums a little bit. They were thumb thugging. I coined that phrase, thumb thugging. That's when you a thug on the internet, you thumb thug. But yeah, I had to talk to him about it because I'm like, yo, how y'all? There's so much stuff going on right now outside your doors. If you live in a place like where I come from and where I kind of still live, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And how can you say these things that you say and believe the things that you believe when you walk outside, you know damn well you're not about to go and help the next brother that you see in a neighborhood that's down, like how dude was down, how Jordan Neely was down.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going out there to serve him and help him or try to lift him up. You see him and you do like everybody else. You're like, man, this is crazy, man. Get this motherfucker away from me.
Exactly.
You know
dismissed.
But because he lost his life, now it's a problem. Smoke, what you think, man?
Well, I think you have to kind of read the temperature of the people that criticize the most. When I say that, these somewhat evangelists that take these instances and these circumstances and they go crazy on them, you have to read the temperature of them. And what I mean by that, listen to how they speak, listen to how they move, watch what they wear, look at what neighborhoods they're coming from. Because anybody that has been on public transportation, anybody that's been in the hood, knows that ignorance supersedes color. There are bums that will come in there, whether they're white, black, Spanish, Latino, and will cause havoc. And when you see that old lady on the train or on the bus dealing with that, it can be terrifying. It can be terrifying. And it can be just the slightest moment of indecision that can leave a very fragile person extremely hurt. Now, look, we're all pretty healthy people. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. You're definitely not necessarily worried about the bum that comes on the train or whatever. But you've been in that circumstance where you've seen that old lady, and then the bum jumping and going nuts and so forth. And it could be a minute that, man, just a split second that woman could get her nose broke or end up in the hospital or really hurt, And
so what do you think? Do you think, let me ask you this. Do you think Daniel Penny getting acquitted is justice?
Absolutely. And I'll tell you why. And I'm making it short and sweet. Absolutely. I seen some other people of color, black people, Spanish people, that were there that specifically said that, man, this guy looked dangerous and we weren't sure what to do. And these were people that were not physically able to do anything. Right. These are people that were like, hey, look, I was scared. And when it gets to that level, the only question we should be asking is, did he go overboard? And what is overboard? Like, I don't believe in halfway conflict. I don't believe in like when you go to battle, when you go to war, you don't go to war halfway. That's how you get hurt and killed. You know what I mean? So when you go to subdue somebody, you go to subdue them to make sure they don't move. Fact. When you hit somebody, you don't hit them halfway. You don't push somebody. And that's kind of my logic on that.
Did you hear his statement that he made? Because Daniel Penny came out and he made a statement. It was beautifully said. I mean, to be honest with you, and he cleared up all the smoke out there, no pun intended. But he cleared it all up, bro. He's like, look, it was not about race. When I was on that train, I didn't see a black man. I didn't restrain a black man because he was acting crazy. I restrained a man who was acting crazy. It's not about race. He goes, and he cleared it up also with, there it is right there. Yeah, Sunni got it. You the best, Sunni. Go ahead and play it.
I mean, I'm not a confrontational person. I don't really extend myself. And like this type of thing is very uncomfortable. All this attention and limelight is very uncomfortable, and I would prefer without it. I didn't want any type of attention or praise, and I still don't. The guilt I would have felt if someone did get hurt, if he did do what he was threatening to do, would never be able to live with myself. And I'll take 1 million court appearances and people calling me names and people hating me just to keep one of those people from getting hurt or killed.
That makes me so sad.
Holy smokes.
Look
That
at
makes-
little too, man. That guy's that's not a big guy either, man. And that's one of those things that where I'm sorry to jump in, but like that's one of the reasons I think he probably used so much force. That guy's a little
Hold the phone.
leather guy.
Hold the phone, bro.
For God's
No,
sake.
bro, this is great. This is like a resurrection. This is like a resurrection right now. I swear I thought you was gone forever, bro.
I popped on. I popped on because I looked at the feed and I saw the credit score so flipping low. I'm like, you gotta add a little cream to this gosh damn coffee, but I'm not sticking around.
No, you know what it is? You know what it is? Waz. I didn't get a hold of Waz to have him hit that share button on X.
Oh, well, you know.
That's my bad. That's my bad. But we still good. I wanted to see what the organic views would be without a Waz share.
Without Wazination.
Without a Waz share. I want to see what it is.
I haven't got to meet everybody yet. I mean, I know Sunni, but Smoke, I don't know you yet. And I was watching what you're talking about with Daniel Penny and Neely. And again, because of the situation on the screen, I was like, Daniel Penny may come for this show. One too many black guys and black ladies on the show. So, you know.
Russo is back in full effect. Hey, no, but real talk though, bro, to be straight up, when you hear that man speak and hear everything that he just said, it's like the brother,
Are you talking about him criticizing the credit score
that's
probably better than his, or are you talking about the topic? What are we dealing with right now?
Back to the
topic. They say he got PTSD, right? So him having PTSD, how come ain't nobody taking into account that he's a Marine that's got PTSD, and then he sees somebody on the train making threats of violence towards people, and this dude's PTSD might have kicked in, and combat training came back like, okay, we got to restrain him. He ain't trying to hurt him, just trying to restrain the brother. How come that's not being said? And then you see the stuff like that on the news where he's sitting there and he's like, look, I don't even want all this.
It is being said. It's being used against him, though. It's being used against him. They're saying that, like, you know, he's a trained killer or whatever. It's all kind of stuff. So it is being used, but it's not being used in his behalf as far as his temperance, as far as his experience and his training. It's being more so used to actually make him seem like he's some deadly force of a guy. You know, this guy's 90-something pounds from what he looks like. This guy isn't no, you know, MMA fighter here, you know?
Yeah. But, Sunni, what you think?
I think street justice prevailed, and I don't have any problems with it. If you don't want to be handled in public, then don't do stupid things in public. You don't get to control the outcome of how you're handled. So is it unfortunate that he's gone? Like, yeah, it's unfortunate when anyone goes bye-bye or takes a night-night. But I don't feel bad for him. I don't. I'm glad that this guy's free. Shout out to you, Daniel Penny. And I hope we have more American men that stand up and take out the trash when it deserves to be taken out. It's kind of that simple for me.
You know, I said something similar earlier, and I got called. It was I think it was a Mexican black dude in the audience and another black dude in the audience. And they said that anybody who shares the opinion that you just shared and that I shared earlier and the opinion that you shared, KG, they say that we coons and we lose our black card.
That's the interesting part about it. The eyewitnesses said the same thing. And that's one thing that it took a long time for it to come out. Maybe you guys may have seen it before, but I didn't see it until recently. The eyewitnesses, the guys, the women and the men that were there, which are also people of color, all kind of different colors. There's Asian chicks that said it. There was a black dude that said, hey, man, this guy was nuts. Like, there's a lot of people, you know, that the only people that were really upset is just like my friend here just said is the activists. You know, there's certain people that are ambulance chasers that are looking for any type of situation with a brown person or a black person gets mistreated, and they're going to blow their horn. You know, and when you have that, what it does is it's like the little boy who screamed fire. I don't know if it's called the little boy, but you know, it's that whole terminology. Like,
who are you calling a boy, Smoke? Come on.
You motherfucker. Nah, but it's just one of those things that just kind of devalues the credibility of the claim, because I'm a strong believer that racism exists in a lot of elements of life. But when you start trying to throw it in every element of life is where you start going incredibly wrong, and it loses its power.
100%. Russo, man, what's your take, bro?
So if you remember, what we talked about this a couple months ago, and you didn't know much about it. It was the beginning of when they were talking about the trial, and you were still like, I don't know. It looks like you've, again, once you really look at the facts and you look at what happened. First off, and again, it's not like the guy's past should have any bearing in the current, but the current was he was breaking the law. He was tormenting people. He was doing things. Well, we actually had a discussion whether or not he was breaking the law. And I think there's a fine line on that when we're talking about Neely. And at the end of the day, the only people, like you said, that are mad about this are the activists. Listening to Hawk Newsom and the other head of the BLM chapter of New York is mind-boggling, because I know Hawk does some good for people. He does a lot for the Black community, but at the same time, he tears them down by actually supporting this kind of behavior and saying this guy is a martyr in a sense. And the fact that they're saying that this was a modern day lynching, this was a guy protecting a group of people doing what nobody is willing to do anymore because of reasons like this. Like, it's a perfect example of the justice system actually working, and the armchair quarterbacks that represent activism in the name of racism, in my opinion. It shows that justice was essentially served in the right sense. And it's unfortunate a man lost.
Ask yourself this too. When do you think those activists, right? And this is why I said you want to check the temperature of these guys, because when is the last time any of these people that I've seen really upset about this? These don't look like people that have taken public transportation in over a decade. Do you understand what I'm saying? So they haven't experienced any of this. I've seen it come from every color that you can imagine. I've seen some hobo white people, Mexicans that came on and were this close from being dangerous people. Could have had a knife, could have had anything. And on public transportation, it happens almost daily.
Big facts, bro. You just said a mouthful right there. And that's the truth. And Russo, what you said, when you said it's not to bring up his past, but his current, what he was doing. In my mind, his past was his current. That's how I'm looking at it. You never changed anything from your past. It's just you were waiting for the next crime that you was going to be convicted of or arrested for. You know what I'm saying? And the thing that got me, that made me be like, okay, I lack a little bit of sympathy here. Maybe I need to look at the details of the case, but the bro allegedly kidnapped a 7-year-old girl.
Not allegedly.
I know. I say that just for YouTube purposes. I know it's out there and you could look up the file, but
he had
blows my mind, and people want to
40 instances, Cash.
Yeah, I know. And people want to turn this into what Hawk said, or what the lady said that I shared yesterday. She said, we need to get out there in the streets and we need to hold on, bitch. You want me, because I'm Black, to go out into the streets and march in the cold and risk my freedom for a man who kidnapped a 7-year-old, beat up an old lady, punched an old man in the mouth and dragged him, and then was threatening people on the train, and then a Marine had to restrain him, which subsequently ended his life? You want me to go march for that?
Man, and almost ended the Marine's life too.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'll pass.
There's a saying, skin folk don't make kin folk. Like, man, I don't abide by that. Like that whole logic of, being white automatically makes you evil or good. And you know what I mean? Or being Black, the same thing. I don't agree with that. So I don't stand by the color of somebody's skin and say, hey, look, I'm in line with that. What I do is I try to find where right goes, where authenticity goes, where morals go, and I want to stand on that side of the fence, no matter who's there. You know what I mean? That's kind of the perspective I take on things, man.
The last thing, in terms of BLM, and this was the gigantic flaw in Black Lives Matter as an organization, and this is highlighting the fact that in the trickles, it's still around. It's like the mafia; it's still kind of around, but the ideology is so broken. They pick them. It's again. I believe it's the global elite that picks who their darling, their martyr is, because they pick the worst martyrs because they know it causes chaos. One of the best examples of truly a broken system was Tamir Rice. and they barely touched on Tamir Rice, the 12-year-old shot by a police officer. When you could watch the video, and it's absolutely absurd. If there is something that I would march for, it would be Tamir Rice and the fact that that cop got off. And BLM barely makes it a footnote in the other cases they use. Hands up, don't shoot. Complete bullshit. This situation, complete bullshit. Trayvon Martin, complete bullshit. Like, why are they using the ones that cause dissension, cause division? Because that's what they want. They don't want Black lives to matter. They want division.
Yeah, I agree.
Very powerful.
So, getting off of this topic, I want to move on to the next topic. What did you guys know about what happened with the dude Mangione that popped the healthcare worker?
I'm going to get myself in trouble because there was the video about the reporter on Piers Morgan that talked about the fact that she had joy in this guy's death.
Got fired too.
Here's the thing. I don't have joy in his death, but I have zero feeling. I don't care. I don't think that she should have shown glee in that clip and been like, I'm happy he's dead. But at the same time, these are organizations. Her point is valid. His decision-making killed thousands, if not 10,000s of people.
Man.
So I don't like that anybody went up and assassinated this person. I don't think Mangione, potential relation to Emily.
I thought about it.
But I don't like that this man was assassinated in the middle of the street. But in my opinion, it shows two things: scary situation in the United States of America where this is happening, and two, I just don't care. Like, this is just another murder. Like, I care more about people that are innocent dying and all that. Like, it's a non-issue to me. It's a big deal that it happened in
please let me get
I got you, but I want to throw this in there just real quick.
I want to
hear what they found in his backpack.
Oh,
yeah, the manifesto.
Yeah. And I don't even know if this is the right, whatever. I think that it's too convenient in my opinion. But
what do you think they found?
They found the manifesto. They found everything that would be like, if you were going to it was the framing kit of somebody. If you wanted to frame somebody, that's what you put, and the gun and the silencer and everything.
Why the hell you have Monopoly money though?
Oh, I didn't know about that.
Man, I so strongly disagree with what he just said, and I'm going to tell you why. Because it's really tragic that, and this is what I knew, and I'm glad that you feel that way, because it at least brings some reason and some logic and discussion, because I feel like it really identifies the desensitized way that America has become for death. And there's two reasons. One, the guy did it like a coward. The guy ran up behind him and shot him in the back. I don't care if you're punching somebody in the face or if you're shooting somebody. There's a certain level of manhood that it requires to do it with honor. Like, he did it like a coward, and that's terrible. The second thing is, he's not that CEO is a position that any person in America wished their son would have. And if you as a person that I'm assuming you know how business works, he's not the one who decides what policies gets canceled, how long it goes. Man, the reality of it is the health system is a combination of a lot of corruption. One, the pharmaceutical industry. Two, the medical equipment industry. Three, the doctors, the hospitals. He's just one small piece in a big pot of disgustingness, right? But what's not disgusting is he's also a father. That's somebody's like, I'm disgusted by somebody running up on somebody and shooting them in the back. Like, that's gross, man. And for somebody to just be, and I'm not saying, because at least you have some sort of humanity saying, hey, I don't feel any way about it. But when people start laughing about that and rejoicing in that, it's disgusing, man.
I agree.
It's disgusting.
I agree with that.
I agree.
And I think
and the icing on the cake is he was a coward. Like, man, that would be like me running up and punching like somebody in the back of the head. But man, that's crazy.
So here's the thing is, I don't know if he was a coward. I think the whole narrative is above our pay grade, and we'll never know the truth behind him, who it was, etc. And it's interesting. Patrice said, disagree. What exactly this guy do to deserve murder? I didn't say he deserved. He's just knocking shit over. I didn't say that he deserved murder. I want to be very clear about that. I'm just saying I don't care. Like, it to me, I care about other people getting murdered on a daily basis more than this situation. I don't want to level murders, but an innocent 7-year-old that catches a stray
My
bullet
friend,
in
let's
Chicago.
stay focused. Are you a conservative? Are you a conservative?
Hold on real quick.
Actually, probably I wouldn't consider myself a full-blown conservative. No.
Okay, let me ask you this. Do you support Obamacare?
Hold on, KG. I'm gonna let y'all get into it and get it in, right? But before we have this back and forth, I want to get everybody's thoughts on this, right? Sunni, how you feel about it?
I don't really have an opinion. I haven't really paid too much attention to it, to be honest with you.
Okay, so my opinion, and then y'all could go ahead and have you back and forth, right? Here's my thing. It's horrible that this dude lost his life, regardless of what his work field was. You know, it's messed up. But my thing is, what level of anger did this dude have towards the system? If that's the case, right?
If that's true.
If that's true, what level of anger did that dude have to do, like you just said, and be a coward and go and pop dude? You know what I'm saying? But then
I know
the other part. Was this actually what we think it was? Because this guy, I mean, Smoke, I'm sure you're going to make all the points about it here when you speak, but this guy came, did what he did. They find a letter that looked like it was written by the FBI themselves and a confession, and it's just like that he's got the mask on but didn't know how to use the pistol the right way, and it's just all types of stuff. So you guys go ahead. I don't think that this is exactly what we think it is, but then I'm a big ass conspiracy theorist. So
there's also, before you ask about Obamacare, there is also the whole gun thing. There's rumors that it was low gunpowder amounts, which he knew how to handle. He was doing that for some weird, I don't know. There's so many theories about it. I don't know. Now, with that said, and I'll get to Obamacare in a second. From what I read, that CEO is actually trying to change things for the better. As I said, I don't know the truth. I don't know. None of us are going to know the truth. In the case that he was assassinated for that, possible. Like, I just don't. The thing is, I don't know what the truth is. I won't know what the truth is. It's unfortunate that he was a father, but there's also rumors that he committed, this was a suicide there's so many different things. In the world of massive corruption, and there is no bigger corruption than pharma and healthcare, then I can't bring myself to, like, I empathize with this family, and that's where I'll leave it.
That's great. Let me explain to you why I asked you about Obamacare and if you're a conservative and so forth, right? Because, you know, if you're emotionless because of the corruption of the system, that was the whole intention of Obamacare and universal health care. You know what I mean? Universal health care, everybody gets health care and so forth. So if you're a conservative, then it really kind of it conflicts with that lack of emotion towards him. My second thing is, this guy was definitely no trained professional. The reason that his gun did not work is because he didn't have a piston. When you have a silencer on a pistol, you have to have a piston. You have to have a piston and a piston spring. You can direct thread a silencer to a rifle, but when it comes to a pistol, if you don't have a piston and a piston spring, it's a one-shot deal, and you got to cock it every time, one shot every time. So my point being is that, like, anybody who was an owner of a suppressor, right, and was going to go do something hideous like this, you're not going to buy a suppressor one day and then go pull a hit with it the next day. Like, the media tried to come off and portray him as if he was some sort of, like, knowledgeable assassin of some kind. This guy seemed like a yuppie to me. The way he looked, the way the gun, he operated the gun, he had no idea what he was doing. He seemed like somebody that here's a backpack, here's a gun, go do this. And nobody paid attention to the gun. And if you want me, my final opinion on it, and if you want to start creating more gun laws, throw a silence on there, have a Democrat that doesn't know how to put a silencer on a pistol. Yeah, get one of these, put one of these on there too, and then doesn't throw the piston on there so it functions correctly, and then, you know, send them out there. So I just feel like it's just a cesspool of
Did I smell a little MK Ultra concept on
very
that?
much so,
bro. That's
very
exactly
much
what I think. 100%.
But I feel like, man, this fact that there's so many people in the country laughing and I just feel like, man, this internet age has really desensitized everybody to death, and it's sad. It's sad and sickening, man. It's just mind blowing to me that people find that funny. Like I've seen people die in my face and their head blown off, and there's nothing funny about it, man. There's nothing funny about somebody leaking, man. And like when you could tell again, it goes back to people that don't ride don't ride the public transportation.
Yeah.
When you've never been around it, you can say, oh, why did he have to kill him? Because that guy could have had a knife. He had to choke him out because that guy could have had a knife in his pocket and started poking him. He had to choke him out. He had to do what he had to do. And like when you are really in tune with these type of scenarios, there's nothing funny about it. And you start to understand how easily a situation that could be just threatening can turn to a life and death situation for yourself or anybody involved in it. So I just think it's scary, man. It's scary it's scary where we've gotten to, because people have gotten to the point where they think they can shoot somebody and just hit the reset button and then they come back to life, man. This death thing is real.
Sunni, he's going back to our whole discussion about video games. You remember that one?
Man.
We had a long debate. We had a debate years ago about I was the only one saying video games have created a dangerous culture because people think they could just restart and get a new life. Casey and Sunni were like, you liberal piece of blah, blah, blah.
Well, because there's so many other elements, man. It's kind of like the media right now. The media lends to a lot of desensitization. So I get it. You're right. But you know what's better? And you guys were talking about this last week, and it's funny. She was on the channel as well. But you guys were talking about the influence that music has, right? Mm-hmm. And on white communities, when white communities are the ones who buy this rap music the most. But do you understand that, yes, video games are influential, but music's influential. The internet's
movies, everything.
But you know what's even more influential? Decent parents. You know what's even more influential? Shitty parents. That's the core, and everything else is just
That's why I disagree with it. Like I say music is absolutely an influence, because I'm a product of the culture.
Telling you can watch a cartoon where Bugs Bunny hits somebody with a hammer and and right, unless you have a parent sitting there saying you don't hit your brother with a hammer, your brother will be in pain and die. Unless you have parents that feed you the food. So what is it that we should blame? The parents, or should we blame the music? Because white kids are listening to gangster rap.
You blame the culture. You blame the culture. You blame the culture, the parents, all of it.
Yeah.
It's not Facebook's fault that people are desensitized. It's not CNN's fault.
We have given up responsibility as parents and as adults, and we've just started blaming and that's a liberal thing to do. It is. It's liberal to say, "Hey, it's not my fault," because it makes you're more comfortable that way. It's our fault.
Lack of accountability. That's the thing that we suffer with right now in this country with a lot of people in a lot of different areas. Lack of accountability. Nobody can say, you know what, that was on me. I fucked up. My bad. People don't do that no more. Especially
I threw my kid an iPad instead of parenting.
The media just wants to shift blame onto what they feel is the enemy, what they want to be the enemy in the minds of the people. So they just put blame out there and make it all about this person and that person that is an enemy of their agenda or their narrative. And that is what's crippling this country. You know what I'm saying? So when we talk about all of these things, video games, they play on some things. Music plays on some things. Movies play on some things. TV shows play on some things. What you hear on the radio or what you read on social media. But at the end of the day, you're right. It comes down to shitty parenting. And the problem is, if it's shitty parenting, well, then how do you fix it if the parents ain't parents? It's a parent. You have one mom or you have one dad, and maybe your dad's incarcerated. That happens a lot. Or maybe your dad's like, this bitch done turned liberal, so I'm not going to be with her no more. And then he splits, don't want nothing to do with the kids because they weird, don't know what's going on. So it's
layers, man.
The family dynamic. When you talk about BLM, right? Because they're out back again, they're showing up and they want to riot and do your thing. But the destruction of the nuclear family, we've watched it happen. The destruction of the nuclear family has happened before our eyes, man. And we were talking about it in 2020, but it was already happened in 2020, and we're seeing the ramifications of it right now in real life. That's why you have young dude on the train that lost his life for acting a damn fool. You know what I'm saying?
What
This
they're
is why
blaming.
you have so many things in the news that they could talk about and try to make it racial instead of make it really what it is. No, it's an ideology. See, we fucked up the homes because we took men out and we want to make men like women, and we want to make women feel like they got to be alpha and masculine, and now the kids don't know which way is up. So the kids ain't got no respect for daddy because daddy may not be around or is acting like a straight cuck when it comes to his wife. So, I mean, that's the problem. Am I wrong?
You're not wrong.
Sorry,
I think it's responsibility across the board. I think the parents hold the most responsibility, but at the same time, I think it's widespread. It's like you said, it's everything. I think the only thing you could pigeonhole is parenting. And then after that, it's just a mixing pot of movies, media, video games. I do think I would place video games right under parents, and parents are the ones that allow their kids to play video games. I just think there is a danger in how realistic video games have been. But again, I get your point that it's way more than that. I understand that. And I do think that's just blaming something, but it is such a realistic sense in some of these war games, and the way that it looks in 2024 with the graphics, it feels like you are killing a real human being.
But here's the thing though, my oldest son, I'll let you go next, KJ.
No, take your time.
My son, I raised, I was in his life. He's the one that I was in his life the least because me and his mother was at odds, but I was still a present father, just not the way I was able to be with my other kids. But still, that influence of me, the disappointment if he did wrong, and all these, the guidance that I was able to give him and the things that I was able to instill in him. He played Call of Duty growing up as a kid, and now you know what he wants to do? He wants to be a Green Beret. Call of Duty made him want to go to the Marine or to the Army
because he was parented while doing that.
That's exactly it.
Yeah.
So the video games was an influence, but in the right direction.
When video games raise a child, it becomes very dangerous.
Facts.
Let me add this into it, because I believe that the hierarchy of influence goes as such. I think it's the parents, right? Which I think they're so distracted by all of this new age media stuff that they're not parenting. They're not as actively parenting as we used to. And we don't have a spiritual foundation of what good parenting is anyway. So it's chaotic. But after that, then it goes to the school systems, which we've taken all the power out of the school systems in the teachers' hands because we don't pay them. And secondarily, back when our parents were growing up, the school teachers could actually have and implement some level of discipline. They can't even do it. They can't even raise their voice to these kids nowadays. So I think you have the parents, you have the school systems. Then we used to have, churches. We used to have like community organizations. You know what I mean? But now, like, all of that's been the power of all of that. You can't whoop your kid. You can't even spank them on the butt. And even just saying it brings negative attention to you where you might get in trouble. Your teacher can't even, I don't even know if they even have detention anymore. They might call it false imprisonment or something. You know what I mean? Like, it's gone crazy. So all of the levels of influence that we used to have been stripped of their power. And it's just unfortunate, in my opinion.
They still have detention, but it's only for white and Asian kids. They can't have the other one.
You're an idiot. So check this out real quick. I want to say, even with all of that, with all the influences and even being a great parent, the one thing you can't account for is somebody's free will. Some people, and I believe this, I believe this 100%. Some people are just born with a fucked up spirit, like a fucked up mentality, man, that they come into this world and something when they were little turned them to a sociopath. And it doesn't matter how good a parent is, or it turns them into some, like weak-minded person or somebody that's easily influenced, no matter how good the parents are, right? If they don't accept the teaching from the parent and they accept the teaching from the teacher, who is like a raging liberal or super conservative, and that becomes their influence and their role model that they listen to more than anything, or their favorite artist or their favorite, you can't account for them making their own choices.
Cash, do you think people are born gay?
No.
Okay, good. All right. I just want, I'm glad you said that, because then I would have attacked what you just said. As long as you're saying that there's some sort of element where kids go wrong to become bad kids, because just like I don't think I was born straight. I think that your hormones plus a normal upbringing is what molds your sexual choices. And when I say that, as far as being a good person or a good kid or a bad kid, if you have a good upbringing and you have some experiences that do go left, and I'm not talking about gay or straight. I'm just saying in general, if you have experience, you can choose the wrong path. Everybody does have that free choice, but I do believe that it's like no one's destined to be a serial killer, or no one's destined to be gay, or destined to be a bad kid. It's
I think they're more. There's people that have a softer trigger. I do think we're born straight. I do. I think we're born straight. But then if there's just one element, whether it's nutrition, a vaccine, a bit of abuse, it strays that person. And I think the same. Some people can be abused their whole childhood and end up an amazing person. Whereas, like what Cash just said, if there's some people that do have a neurological weakness, whatever it is, and one little thing will send them into a world of being a serial killer. Mm-hmm. Like I think it depends on the individual makeup, but I think we're all born decent, but different.
They've done studies. They've done studies. Remember, there's been kids that had like the perfect life that just loved to kill animals and just turned out because they loved killing. That's it. I really like to kill. I like to just see things die. There's people out there with that kind of fetish.
There was a trigger. There was some trigger that happened in their life. Who knows?
Maybe a lack of discipline. Maybe their life was too good. It's like, well, you killed the kitty. It's fine. And he's like, oh man, the kitty's not here no more. It's not scratching me. There's no more poop. And I just want to kill everything now. I don't know.
My intention was to be on here for like 15 minutes, but I wanted to bring up a story, and I want to hear your guys' opinion on what happened yesterday to me. And especially, usually I do have a firearm in my car. And this was the rare occasion. I feel like I'm 10 feet tall when I'm in my little hybrid and I talk shit. This one, I felt a little bit different. It felt wrong. So I'm pulling out of I have to go to the gym. It's early in the morning. And in my head, I think part of it was like the one time I decide to go to the gym in the morning is the day that I get killed. So I wanted to be careful. So I'm behind this guy. I'm in Stephenville, Texas, which there's a decent amount of Mexicans here, but not like something felt weird. So I'm behind this guy. We're pulling out of the grocery store parking lot, and I have to go across to go in the gym. That's how the street works. So I'm behind him. He's not moving at all. Tap on my horn and not moving. So I start to try to go around. I'm like, I can't fit. And then he finally goes out, and I go, and I have to get in the left lane. And he then swerves into my lane like he's pissed off at me for me waiting 30 seconds for him to move on a street with nobody coming. So I lay on my horn pretty hard on this one. I take the left into the gym, and there's another left way in front of it. He takes that left. And I'm like, oh, hell. And typically, like, I puff up, but I did look, and I go, this is the one. I don't know why I took my gun out of my car a couple weeks ago. I can't remember if I had to put it in the truck or something. So I'm like, I don't have my gun. Something felt weird. And then he starts just tracking me around the parking lot. I hide, and he thinks I'm gone. I'm like, why am I playing this game? But I'm like, dumb 27-year-old Anthony would probably keep pushing the envelope. And in today's world, it could be dangerous. So we finally at one point crossed each other, and we look, and it's a dude that just didn't fit in Stephenville. Like, he didn't fit in cowboy country. And he was a Mexican guy, and his eyes were just like there was just nothing there. And he just stared me down. So I just kept going. We crossed, and then he whipped a shitty, came after me, and I ended up leaving the parking lot. And he then turned, and then finally turned away, and then we split past.
Can I respond?
Yeah, because that's his hair. That's his. The last thing I'll say is that was the first time my spider sense went off and was like, "You might be about to get in a situation."
That man.
Well, okay, let me respond. Hold on. Please let me take this one because you just said so many things that, like, first you started it off with how many Mexicans are in your neighborhood, right? Like, I look. This is why I say a lot of times when, like, and I don't want to say her name, and I don't want to say anybody's name in negativity. This is why I think when people start saying that racism and all of these people, this shit doesn't exist, it's BS. It's a racial denial because he doesn't think he just said something racist.
No, I know. That's why I'm having the conversation with you.
Right. You might be a good guy.
It did sound like
Let me finish. I'm not saying you're not a good guy. I'm not saying that, you're whatever. But what I'm telling you is stuff like that is what gets people like me killed. Because
stuff like that is what keeps people like me alive.
Do you think? Did you die?
I feel like it was a.
Did you? Hold on.
I want to hear Sunny's
respond.
opinion.
Let me respond. Let me finish because the thought process.
Go ahead.
First,
You got 2 minutes. I'm gonna put.
All right, I'm gonna do it quick. Then here, let me cook. Let me cook. First, you start off that there's more Mexicans here than normal or whatever, right? Then you say that that with this Mexican guy, he doesn't belong in cowboy country. So as if your section of the woods is not where people like me or brown people are supposed to be.
There's a lot of black.
These are your assumptions. Hold on. These are your assumptions when you've had no conversation with anybody. You haven't talked to anybody. You're just seeing a Mexican dude that you've had a street altercation with, no words, but you've already said to yourself, man, there's a lot of Mexicans around here. Man, look, I'm in country town and Mexicans shouldn't be here. And then throughout this whole conversation, you're talking about, man, I would escalate, but I don't have my gun. Like, this is mind blowing, bro. Like, do you realize what you're saying?
No, let me before Suni goes, when I say I would escalate typically by laying on my horn more, but something felt weird. And when I say Mexicans, it was more of a, okay, I live in Texas.
Thank God you didn't have your gun.
Hold on, not to cut you off, but hold your explanation, right?
What do you mean?
Because you don't need to explain.
Yeah, don't say nothing yet. Let us go because I got a different opinion.
Let me clarify one bit. When I say that I didn't have my gun, the reason I didn't say this, and I should have. The reason I didn't just park and go into the gym is because I did not have a sense of protection if shit went wrong. That's why, because I was like, if I park, I'm exposed to some guy just going by and shooting. That's it. And I'll go back on the Mexican part and explain that better later. But go ahead.
All right, go ahead, Suni.
I don't think there's anything wrong with what he said. Every single one of us, we all do this. Every single one of us racially profiles. It doesn't make you racist. If I see a black man that does not look like he fits in my neighborhood because I know what the black people look like here, I'm absolutely going to have my senses heightened. If I see a Mexican that does not belong in my neighborhood because I know what the Mexicans look like that live here, I'm looking at you sideways. If you're white, if you're Asian, it doesn't matter. You're telling me to not use my discernment. Why?
I did not say not use your discernment, nor did I say anything about racism.
Hold on,
what I said
KG.
conflict.
Hold on, we can't do that. All right, let me go real quick,
man.
So this is what I was gonna say. All right, Russo, that sounded completely fucked up the way you explaed it. It just
I'm telling you,
it sounded horrible. But I know you, so I have that right. I know you're not a racist.
Cash,
so
I'll let you go, but hold on. Did I just say that me and a Mexican guy like had a beef driving next to each other and I felt a certain way? He followed me into a parking lot, circled around me, kept following me, and I did not know he was Mexican until we passed.
You don't have to explain, Russo. You don't even got to explain. I got this. I got you. So here's the thing. It sounded fucked up because people don't know you. You know what I'm saying? So
no, I think it sounded fucked up because people are soft.
He's being honest. I don't think it sounds fucked up.
Look.
You guys are missing my point.
This is my thing.
My criticism is
hold on.
Dead ass wrong.
Hold on, brother. Hold on. This is my thing, bro. I racial profile every single time I'm out. Every day that I'm out, I racial profile everybody. I promise you that. I'm looking at if I see somebody that is not the type of white that I'm used to, or if I see a police officer that's got that certain haircut, I'm like, oh shit, let me be extra careful. This one might be one. You know, if I see a Mexican and he looks like that type of Mexican that I know, like
this is why I thank God I'm a gun owner.
I'm racial profiling, bro. I'm looking at people and I'm making judgments.
This is why
I feel like appearance is everything. If you look like you want some, it's not even, to me, it's not even racial profiling. It's just
it's called discernment.
Let me tell you what discernment.
Come on, brother, hold on.
Sorry.
It's not racial profiling because I'm looking at what I know. My life experiences, where he lives at, he knows the people that's around, how they look. They all have a certain type of way about them. It's like a certain culture. So if you see some shit that's out of spot, I totally understand what you mean when you say he had that look. I know people that have that look. When I was in the store the other day, walking in Kohl's when we was doing a little bit of Christmas shopping, I seen people that had the look. And it's not even just with race or anything like that. I use a perfect example. Me wearing a MAGA hat. When I wear a MAGA hat, I could tell who's a liberal. I could tell who's
No, we
looking at me
don't
like,
need to
I
make
hate
any
you.
examples. Just talk about what happened. This guy was not a killer. This guy was not a
You
shooter.
don't know that?
You don't know that?
He's
Whoa,
alive.
whoa.
He didn't shoot him. He didn't shoot
Oh,
him.
come on, bro.
You're
That's
tripping right
that
now.
is
Hold
so
on,
bad faith.
Let me at least finish the
Wait,
statement.
no, Smoke, shush.
That is
How
so
the
bad
fuck
faith.
Come on,
do you
man.
not
Nah, you're
do you
talking to a
know
grown man. I
anything
don't
about this
shush.
guy's past?
And my point is if he was a killer, you would be shot. And
That's
he
not
didn't
true.
shoot
That
you.
is not true, bro.
That's
No,
not
because
true.
I was avoiding him as much as I possibly could.
Exactly.
I don't know.
And so he was chasing you down. I didn't hear any part of the story that he was chasing you down.
And you
Come
you
on.
You weren't
blacked
listening.
out.
You
no
only
pun
heard the
intended.
rape. You heard the
Hold on.
trigger.
You blacked out right when I started saying that it was a Mexican guy because I explained that this guy took the next turn, followed me around. I had to hide, and then he pulled out. When I pulled out, he tracked after me. I then go to leave the parking lot. He then goes to follow. That's when we crossed paths. He flipped around, followed me on my tail, like
So
as
followed
close as you
and
can
then
get.
cross paths. Okay, I'll let it slide. But my point is like that's just hilarious. I mean, and if
just
you
got
guys
triggered
all
by
know,
race again, bro. This is the
I'll
second
be
time.
quiet. I'll digress again.
It's the second time though. You got to remember when we do these discussions, you can't let these things trigger you. You can't give an emotional response just because you heard Mexican and it's a white guy saying
I'm
it.
not triggered. What I'm saying is that you know what? Thank God he didn't have his gun, and thank God because if he did have his gun and it would have escalated, it would have been so unnecessary. Because both of them ended up being okay. Two men. Conflict on the road.
Russo wouldn't have pulled out his gun though, my brother.
I would have never pulled
Hey, look,
out my gun.
I'm not cutting you guys off. I'm trying not to, but like my point being is like, at the end of the day, just because you think that this person's not supposed to be in your country town or whatever it is, and you guys have a road conflict that no one gets hurt, but God forbid if he would have had his gun and it would have escalated, then somebody could have got hurt. One of maybe both of them. My point is that you obviously don't know who's in your town because he was there too. And there's so like it wasn't like he was robbing houses. You guys had a conflict in the park.
All right, can I respond now? Can I please respond?
Go ahead.
Listen, I don't respect, right? We're all respecting here, but what you are presenting is irrational.
Facts.
And I'm being super honest. You're only triggered because he's white.
Mm-hmm.
That's why it bothered you. It just listen, bro. We black. I'm black. I grew up in the hood. I'm from the trenches, bro. Like, come on, listen.
This must be the first time you've seen me because I could have swore that what I just
hold
said
on. Whether it's my first time seeing you or not, this is my first experience with you, and you are
totally wrong,
sir,
ma'am.
This is you can get up frustrated with me. That's fine. I can go toe to toe with the best of them. So then let me finish because you're responding to every 3 words that I say, proving that you're triggered. Or else you would just let me say what I'm going to say and then respond, kind of like I did with you.
Go ahead.
Thank you. You are presenting very irrational logic. That's an that's a paradox because it doesn't make sense. You're shaming this dude and trying to make him listening to his discernment on this. You know what? This person does not look like they belong here, right? They don't belong here. He does look like an odd Mexican, and he just had that look in his eye, and I did not feel secure because I don't have my weapon on me. There is nothing wrong with that because you know what? As a black woman, I probably would have had the same thought. I'm not engaging with you. You don't look like you belong here. Let's not pretend like we don't have illegal immigrants in this country, especially Texas. So if he did see someone that looks weird, maybe they don't actually belong there. Fact. And there is nothing wrong with saying that. If you come on base in my neighborhood and you don't look like you belong here, guess what SUNY is doing? I'm calling 12. I got kids. I got to live here. You're not going to come disturb my peace, and then I got to sit here and wonder if you're going to be offended. I don't give a flying fuck if you're offended. You don't belong here. Say la vie.
I had to call the police at that point.
We're always making assumptions. That is how we live.
And your assumption that I only care because he's white is so
you
false.
Showed it.
Allow me to finish because I mean I could have sworn
sure
you were doing what you were saying. Okay, so your assumption that I only care or I'm only triggered by it because he's white, if you would have started a conversation and said, man, white people are not supposed to be in my hood. I don't think white people are supposed to be here. So I got into conflict with this white person. I didn't have my gun. I would think it was just as ridiculous. Me personally, as a gun owner that always has a gun on him, also trains other gun owners. You have to be temperate. You have to be someone who de-escalates conflicts, no matter what their color is. If you are not, then the reality of it is that some people can end up losing their life. If you are not someone who looks at situations not as what you think they're supposed to be, because obviously Mexicans are there. There's no such thing as a black. I'm in a place, and obviously your assumptions, let me finish, are incorrect, because that white person is there, or that odd-looking Mexican is there, or that black person is there.
Okay.
So when you start to say that who's in your neighborhood, but you clearly, let me finish, do not,
brother. You can't filibuster, bro. You cannot filibuster, brother.
You are not filibustering. Okay? What I'm saying is that
created a CNN moment right now, bro. You just made up an entire narrative that he did not say. He did not say any of the things that you just said.
What did he not say? That this is not just a country town.
These Mexicans don't belong over here. That's not what he said. He said he did not look like the type of Mexicans that are there.
No. He said this is a country town. This is the country. What was your exact words?
I said there is Mexicans that live here, not a ton. But this guy looked a little different. But let me be very clear. I did not even know it was a Mexican until he followed me in the parking lot and leaned out his window and started looking around for me. I didn't know what he was.
And he didn't literally he wished he had his gun to do that. He said, I didn't go in because I did not have my gun.
As a Second Amendment supporter, the whole purpose of having a gun is to never have to use it. But if I would have had it on me, if I would have been able to have it on me, you use it when you are pushed. But if I would have had it on me, you know what? I will say you're right in this. If I would have had it on me and I got out of my car and got shot getting out of my car because I felt more comfortable, then yeah, maybe it would have escalated. But it wasn't going to escalate. I just felt unsafe even stopping my car because a guy that could have been white, Mexican, or black, if anybody was following me like that, there would have been spider sense that gone up and go, I don't want to fuck with this situation.
Hey, I just find it entertaining. That's cool. I'm all good.
Just one more thing. After he finished his statement, and it was during his statement, you literally said, what you just said gets people that look like me killed.
It does.
You made it. So don't tell me you're not making it about race, and don't say that you're only saying you're not. Hold on, let me finish.
But at least say things I said.
I am. You literally just agreed. You said that.
That I'm making. Who's making it about race? What are you talking about?
Can I finish? I literally quoted you verbatim. You agreed.
You said I'm not saying. You said don't say I'm not making it about race. When did I say I'm not?
Okay, you're not listening to me clearly. The beginning part of what I said, and I'm going to repeat it. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
You said what you are doing and what you just said gets people like me killed. Did you not say that? Okay. All right.
He meant tall, dark, and handsome, not black.
He didn't mean that. We all know what he meant.
Well, obviously you do. So keep going. Tell us what I meant.
I'm trying. I just quoted you. Okay. So
people like me.
You said those words. Are you going to get sensitive because I'm repeating it?
I'm waiting for you to continue telling me what I meant.
No, let's ask you. What did you mean by people like you?
What I'm saying is that when you are an outcast in any neighborhood, whether you're somebody who doesn't belong, when somebody assumes, like, what was it, the Trayvon Martin thing, or whether anybody that assumes when that person sees somebody, oh, they don't belong here. Just like the situation that she had made up earlier. I might be in this neighborhood or on base, and I see somebody that doesn't belong. Like, who are you to be I'm a resident that pays rent here. Allow me the same respect you're asking for. And then when you say in this country town like place element that doesn't belong in my country town or whatever, like it was weird. And when you watch it back, you'll hear it. But either way,
no, I won't.
Hey, no worries.
What did you mean?
I digress.
I'm not going
to argue with people. I'm not going to argue with you guys as far as like, you know what I mean, what I'm saying. But I just feel like it's a very dangerous thing to have a gun and be thinking that because somebody looks different than you that they're not supposed to be there.
Not different than him. You're doing it again. Not different than him. Different than the people that he knows in that town of how they look. And he had a look and he's following him. Did a U-turn. He cut a bitch in the road.
Based on him being Mexican.
No, basically, he didn't know he was Mexican. He just knows a car is following him. And when
they started with Mexican.
Brother.
When you watch it back, you hear it.
The story, no, he's right.
With Mexican.
The story started with Mexican. I started in the middle of the story, but I explained the situation. If it was black, Mexican, or white, and if somebody did what they did, I'd feel a little certain way. And then when I saw that it was a Mexican guy, it's somebody that didn't quite fit in a town where there is illegal immigrants, and the fact that he was sitting in his window in a different way at 7 o'clock in the morning, typically people are going to work, something didn't fit. Okay. And I just felt a little uncomfortable. But I want to hold you to answer the question, because you didn't just answer it. When you said gets people like me killed, who are people like you? You said people from, what do you mean by that? You tried
people
to
that are assumed not to be from that neighborhood. So for example, I'll give you a great example because there's nothing really funny about it. When I first moved to Miami, right? I'm walking down the street. You know, I'm in my girlfriend at the time owns a house here. I'm a photographer. I'm walking down the street. 5 cops pull up to me. A woman calls the cops on me because I look like I didn't belong. Now, Miami's a neighborhood that has black people, white people, but I just didn't look like I belong. Almost escalated in the situation to a really negative, bad situation between me and the cops. So what I'm saying, that assumption that somebody just because of how they look isn't supposed to be there is a very dangerous situation for whatever color, whoever's making that assumption that they're not supposed to be there.
Did you do your turn and follow the person?
Hold on, Sunny. So you're comparing my story of where somebody was following me because they were doing something erratic on the road and they happen to be Mexican. You're assuming that just the same as the racist, and again, don't know the full story, but the racist white Karen that called the police on you for just looking a certain way. Again, I think you forgot about the part that this guy followed me around a parking lot.
What I'm saying is that your story, and regardless, and again, I'm going to keep it moving, but regardless, your story started off with identifying him as a Mexican. Then further, and let me finish this, then further went into him not belonging in your country town. Then further went into you not having a gun. My point is that when you start putting these elements of things, instead of it just being a traffic conflict, which is why you brought it up for us to have an opinion about it. So instead of this being just a traffic conflict, right, which is what it seems like it kind of was, all of these elements of race, what your town's normal elements are, all of these things came into play. With me, if it was the same thing, I swear to God, him being a Mexican would not have mattered. My town not having too many Mexicans wouldn't have mattered. My town, none of these elements that you emphasize. Let me finish. I'm finishing with this. Last sentence. I swear to God, none of the elements that you emphasized multiple times should have been a factor in your behavior. And the reason why,
who are you to say that?
I'm saying if you want my opinion on it.
Okay, now
I'm not the one to tell him what he should and shouldn't do.
Hold on now. You said one last sentence. I just think
it's ridiculous.
That was the last sentence. Okay. Again, I just got to reiterate this. When he was talking about the Mexicans, I can understand being, if you're racially triggered, how that would trigger you. I heard it. I get it. I understand. But you got to bring yourself up here and be like, that's obviously not what he's talking about when you hear the full context of the story. If it was black people, he would have started a story like, we got black people that live in my town, but this one that I'm about to tell you about wasn't like them because he just had this different look. Oh, if it was white people, he'd have said, hey, we got a lot of white people in this town, but this person, somebody's out of place. Yeah, this guy was that. He did not make it about them being a Mexican. He made it about them following him through a parking lot. Doing a U, coming to follow, getting behind him, and then they cross paths, and then he's seen that he's a Mexican.
Okay.
So can I turn? I'll tell it. This is what would have been racist. Same type thing happened, and then I see that it's tinted windows, and I can't see inside the car, and I go, I knew it was either a black guy or a Mexican guy, and I didn't feel safe. That would be racist. But when I saw a guy that just didn't fit to me, what the typical Mexican that I see in my town, and he had dead eyes because I'm allowed to have a judge of character based on the way somebody looks and the fact they're already doing something wrong by following me, by making me hide in a parking lot. That to me takes the racism out of it. Now, the whole reason I wanted to bring it up is I wanted you guys' opinion because I did have questions. I'm like, I knew that inside of me, I'm like, I made a rational decision at that point, and I believe in situational awareness. And in that situation, like, somebody could have done something dumb, and unfortunately, Smoke, there's no way to know if this person would have pulled a gun. And if I would have got out of my car and I already knew, like, I was situated as somebody that's a pro Second Amendment guy, you got to think through this. In my head, I was thinking through it. If I would have pulled into a parking space straight on, I knew that if he drove up behind me and I opened my door, I've got nowhere to go. I've got no protection. I've got no cover. So I was thinking of all of these things, LL Lewis. I was thinking of all of these things to make sure that I was being safe. And it did. The gun would have been, that's my afterthought of if shit would have gone wrong. I would have liked to have had it just in case, because that is the purpose of having a gun. If somebody is going to try to injure you, that's why you have it. Take that even out of it. The whole story was based on situational awareness. And yes, I live in Texas. I live in a country town that's a college town, country town that doesn't have people that look like this specific person. He could have been the greatest human being on the planet. But in this case, I was protecting myself on what could have been a threat because of the way that they were threatening me. There is nothing racist about it. I actually had the question, which is why I brought it up to you guys. And to be honest, based on two thought processes in yours, I feel even less racist or questioning than I did before I started.
Good. You weren't racist, bro. You're not a racist. Just so everybody knows, I know Russo. Like, me and him have spent time together. That's my dog.
He
looked out for me when I was in jail.
Man. I didn't call him a racist.
Brother. He's not a racist.
Not calling him a racist. I just told you my opinion on the circumstance. I'll tell you another. Well, I'm not even going to go any further into it. I'll keep it moving. I didn't know that was going to turn into 30 minutes. I didn't know. You didn't tell me that Smoke had a completely leftist liberal side. I didn't know. I'm fucking with you. I'm kidding. I'm joking. I'm not offended, man. I'm telling you, I'm not offended. I have an opinion, and I'll tell you what. You know what I'm saying? If you could disagree, I'll tell you another assumption that was, well, no, I'll just leave it alone. I digress. You guys,
it's all good. It's all love here, Smoke. We love you, brother. You're allowed to have your opinion, and we're allowed to give you some shit for it. It's okay. Man. And you're allowed to give us some shit for ours. It's no problem. It's all love. You are brother. You're part of this team now, man. So get used to it. You're me when I first started. That's what you are. This is good. I like it.
Based on the look of this audience, I'm clearly in the wrong neighborhood. So
you don't belong here. That's right.
This was a damn good show. That's what this was. This was good. I enjoyed this. Suni, did you enjoy yourself?
Yeah.
You did, right? I seen it. I seen your whole demeanor start to change. Once you and Russo started interacting, it switched up a little bit. It felt like old times, didn't it?
Because that I don't know. Is it like a sense of not defensiveness? It's kind of like you, right? I know Russo. There's a lot of things that I just don't really agree with Russo on.
Yeah, of course.
But I don't think he has a malice or like ill intent. And I don't think no. Somebody calling or even alluding to the fact that he's racist, I would probably laugh.
Yeah, nah, he's definitely not.
He's just definitely not conservative though, like in the slightest. I wanted to say that. I didn't get to respond because he said he's not all the way conservative. You're not conservative at all, bud. Okay,
he's a Trump supporter.
That's it.
Gotta love Russo and Smoke, man. We love you too. Did you enjoy yourself? I know this one, the heat was on you a little bit today. It's all good.
It ain't on me, man. This is what just went down is very much bigger than just the discussion we just had. Like what we just had is very representative of the life of one of the people that's always called out. Oh, he's not supposed to be here. He looks suspicious. This isn't a new conversation. And what he just explained, and when you watch it back, the way he explained it, I didn't make it about race. I listened to his story, which heavily emphasized Mexicans not supposed to being in a certain neighborhood.
No.
Mexicans, hold on. They're not typically in that neighborhood, and they're not used to seeing Mexicans there. And in his good old country, and I think he even said his good old country town. He said he used some sort of verbiage.
No, brother.
Hold on. I'm saying when you watch it back, you'll see.
I know. I heard it.
My God.
Okay, that's my point. Okay, so my point being is like that method of thinking is truly, I don't want to call it, you call it whatever you want, but it is worth identifying.
I'm gonna call it being triggered. It was race and it brought it up and you just got triggered because a white guy said Mexicans. That's really what happened. A white guy said Mexicans and you was like, shit, he's racist. That's what happened.
That's how you feel.
I got a question.
I'm a gun owner and I have to have temperance. I have to have extremely calm.
With the gun, yeah, but with conversation is different.
Let me say what I'm saying, because this is me all the time.
Brother, you cutting Sunni though. Sunni was about to respond to you. Let Sunni go in and then you can respond to Sunni. Go ahead.
Okay. When black people say to other black people, quit talking white, what do you think that's doing to them?
Are you asking me?
Yes.
I think that's one of the most ignorant statements. And quit talking white.
Yeah.
What is white? What's your premise? What is your premise of that statement? I think it's one of the most ignorant statements that I can really. I don't even know how to respond to that. Should I respond to it in a white way? What are you talking about?
Are you all right? I'm asking you because these are things that were said.
I don't know if maybe I'm being too black. I don't know. Tell me, but help me understand what you mean by talking white.
Sir, these are things that have been said to me. So I'm asking you, if you were to hear this, how would you view it?
I don't understand it because maybe I'm too black. I don't know. Please help me out on what does it mean.
What the bro? I'm legit about to spaz the fuck out, bro.
I'm asking you, what does it mean to speak white?
I don't know. I'm bringing this up as
how are you going to ask me to understand it?
Smoke.
Cash.
You know what the problem is here?
Bro.
We about to cut it anyway. We about to end it. So y'all go ahead and tell them where they can follow you at, Sunni.
Definitely not Sunni on TikTok. Hit me up there. That's where I'm live all the time. Hit us up on Somewhere in the Middle USA on YouTube. That's where you can find me.
Where they can follow you, Smoke.
Smokepole TV on all platforms. You want the quick stuff, IG, Smokepole TV, no spaces. You want the long form stuff, Smokepole Space TV on YouTube.
All right, I'm about to give my final thought. I'm going to remove you guys. Thank y'all for coming on. I appreciate y'all. All right, I'm taking the final thought. So, what y'all just witnessed right now, okay? I love Smoke, Sunni, and Russo, just so y'all know there's no bias here. This is no bias. I'm just giving my observation, all right? My man Smoke, he's in the struggle, and that's respectable. He's a 2A guy. He does his thing. He's got his social media thing going, but race is a hot topic for him. And I know that. I know that personally. Me and him have had exchange. So I know what he thinks Russo said. We all, if you were listening, if you were here, Russo did not say what he said, that Mexicans ain't supposed to be here. All right. He did not say that. He said the Mexicans that are from here, he didn't look like them. Okay. Let me clear that up for everybody. You can go back and watch it. All right. And he also said that the dude had dead eyes when he crossed paths with him. He didn't say that it's good old country town. This boy doesn't belong in this good old country town. He didn't say that. That's not what Russo said. All right. He said in his town, these people he don't look like these people. He don't look like that type. Like maybe they weren't wearing a sombrero or something. I don't know. That was racist. I just said it, but it's funny, right? Russo's not a racist, you guys. My man gets to Smoke. He gets a little, when you say anything race, I already have learned this. It's gonna be a talk. You know what I'm saying? Give him time. He's a little rough around the edges. He's molded into this thing now, though, and y'all see he's gonna be polished. He's gonna be polished, man. This brother, he's good. He's a well of info, especially when it comes to 2A. He's a good dude. So I hope you guys enjoyed this show. I know it wasn't a normal kind of show, but the show had to go on. I couldn't just not do the show for you guys just because Russo's a quitter and Casey couldn't make it because he's partying in Vegas, baby. Shout out to Casey. I hope you had a good time, my bro. Russo, you really shocked me showing up tonight. I'm really glad you did, bro. I'm really glad you showed up tonight. That was dope. And you added some spice into this conversation, which was beautiful. I love when this kind of stuff happens. It makes my day. I'm going to go to sleep happy tonight that we just had this show. It was really good. It was really good. But last thing I want to say, you guys, we have Streetlights first annual Christmas drive going on. If you guys can go ahead and click the link, it's in the chat. My moderator's been putting it in there all night. Go there. We're almost to our goal. You guys have been crushing it. And if you can't support by, financial, then hit the share button. Just share it out. Share the link to that on your page and let people know, hey, we're trying to give back Christmas this year to all the kids that we can, no matter what color they are, no matter where they live, if they live in a good old country town, or if they live in the hood, or if they live in the barrio homes. It doesn't matter. We're going to help. We're going to help. That's what we're trying to do. Okay? That's it. That's all I got for you guys. I appreciate you. God bless. I'll probably see you again tonight. I'm coming live again because this was just so fun. I don't want to stop. And then I got this beautiful backdrop now. My lighting is just getting on point. So, yeah. Love y'all. Peace.